Welcome everyone, welcome to the new KO kitchen. This is an exciting moment. We're baptizing the kitchen today with Eleni. Welcome Eleni.
Thank you so much for having me. It's just wonderful to be here and it looks unbelievable.
Thank you, thank you. So happy that you are the first guest to enjoy this space.
Me too.
Yeah, let's have some fun.
Great, let's cook Yemista.
Let's do it. Eleni is here to share her family recipe of stuffed vegetables, Yemista. And Yemista are cooked throughout Greece, some with meat, others without. And your recipe comes from Sparti.
That's right. My family has always made this. This was a really poor person's meal. And so they had an abundance of tomatoes in the summertime. They didn't really have cheese, so they filled them, as the rest of Greece did, with rice and herbs, salt and pepper. My mum added the cheese later on when she decided that they needed a really good hit of salt and a little melty kind of bomb in the middle.
Well, I think she's adapted this recipe very nicely and created a beautiful, beautiful variation that I think everyone will really enjoy making for themselves. So let's make a start.
Fantastic.
What do we do first?
So we grab our gorgeous, these are just spectacular, truss tomatoes.
Yep.
We want them to be firm but not floury and pale. So these are really beautiful and ripe.
I'll just pop those over here and we'll bring the tomatoes across.
Marvellous.
All right.
So we're picking the truss off the tomato.
All right, so what do we do with them?
So I am cutting them. A lot of people cut from the top and leave the bit where the stalk was as the top bit.
Yes.
But I turn them over and they just look prettier. I don't know whether that is a good enough explanation to cut the bottom bits, but that's my vibe.
I think it's actually a really brilliant thing to do, because when you are served Yemista, the first thing they have to do is kind of negotiate that little leftover stump. Like, what do I do with that? Do I get rid of the lid? Do I cut that little bit out? How am I going to do this? But when you actually prepare them with the bottom side up, you're good to go. From the first mouthful, you're good to go and enjoy the beautiful
And a lot of people
dish.
kind of look at that and go, oh really? Especially kids, they kind of don't want to eat that.
Yeah.
So when we cut through the bottom part of the tomato, I am leaving a tiny weeny little hinge in the back. So I'm not cutting it all the way through. The lid stays on and flips back on again. Fantastic. So we've cut through all those and we're going to get Christine's super duper snazzy Melbourne-wide sourced melon baller, which has a little blade in it. It makes life much, much easier when we take the flesh out of the tomato.
Yes.
So we start scooping out our...
Okay, and we'll put it into here.
We're going to throw them straight into a food processor.
Straight into here. Away we go.
Marvellous. Now we take out as much of the flesh as we can, but we do want to leave a little bit of skin on the wall of the tomato. If it's too thin, they will collapse inside the pan because they'll be roasting for a couple of hours. Now, I've just done something which you're going to do a million times over, and I've accidentally ripped that stalk right out of the bottom. So you can see that there's a hole. This will go into the tray and it'll pick up the juices from the bottom part as well. So we don't have to be exact.
And the rice will expand and there'll be cheese in there and the filling will kind of like, you know, stick to itself, and it will kind of plug the hole. This is the most labor-intensive part of the recipe.
Yep.
This,
don't be frightened by it. This is the only bit that's really taking up our time. After that, it's pretty smooth sailing. It's actually quite meditative. So when you're sitting here and you're doing this kind of stuff and you've given yourself enough time, it's absolutely lovely. There's a kind of joy in it that has a reward at the end. So we are going to food process these and I'm going to dry my hands.
All right.
So to this food processor, we're going to add 1 cup of the just some really good thick rich passata. It just gives it that extra tomato-y hit. And we are going to food process this until it's quite smooth. It's the only thing that's going to be processed until it's quite smooth. The rest is going to keep its texture.
Alrighty, all of our tomato pulp and our tomato passata has been blended, blitzed and blended to make a beautiful tomato puree, and we're going to put most of this, most of this in here, but we're actually going to keep about a cup.
About a cup, yep. So I would say just a tiny bit more, and that'll do.
Okay.
And we reserve this in a separate container because we're also going to be...
We've got a jug over here and it's got 3 cups of water in it, and we're going to add this tomato. Maybe just drop it over here. Okay, let's see if we can do this.
Marvellous, that's great.
And we did it.
Happy days. So, to our puree, we are going to add 2 large onions, and we are going to food process these. And I'm just going to
very large, medium to large.
It's, as I've said before, it's quite a forgiving recipe. So whether you put 1.5 onions, or you've got an extra onion hanging around in the fridge and you want to get rid of it. This recipe is really not one of those things where one flavour takes over another. All the flavours work together here. So we're throwing that into here at its quarters.
Super duper.
And we are going to process this, but not to a mush. This has to have some texture.
That's the texture we're going for. Finely chopped.
So now we are going to chop up some mint.
Yes.
We've got this gorgeous mint from your garden.
Yes.
The stalks are still quite tender. We can throw them in there. You know, you can otherwise, if it's a little bit too hard, you can just peel them off. Again, it's really not a bad thing to keep them on. It provides a really great bit of texture. So I'm just going to do half of them with the stalk and half without.
Okay.
So they're going in there, and we're also taking half a bunch, so kind of half a bunch, maybe a little bit more of parsley. These stalks I will take off because there's actually quite a lot of them, so let's just be really rough about it. And that will go into our food processor as well, and we'll be pulsing this too, so we're not turning them into pesto. We are literally having... You can sort of still see that the mint is the mint and the parsley is the parsley, but it's nicely finely chopped. So let's give that a little bit of a whirl.
Nicely chopped.
See that they're nicely chopped, almost as if you've chopped it by hand. They haven't been turned into a mush. You'll still be able to recognise the herbs in the tomato when you're eating them.
Yep.
So they're great. Now this looks like a lot of herbs, but it's not a lot of herbs.
It'll cook down to very little.
That's right.
It'll almost be non-discernible in the mixture. You'll just have the flavour there, but there won't be a lot of green.
That's right. The next ingredient that we're popping into our bowl with the herbs, the onions and the tomato is some really beautiful extra virgin olive oil. And this is half a cup, and I know that it might sound excessive, but really it's the longevity elixir.
It is. It is. So pour it in.
I'm pouring it in.
Let's
and
live
I'm
long.
not having
living long. Pouring a lot and living long.
There we go. I've got about 3 or 4 teaspoons of salt and pepper.
This is about 4 teaspoons.
Okay.
I'm not sure how much sugar it is.
I'm going to probably, I know that this is going to sound excessive as well, but I'm going to put in 3 teaspoons, actually 2.5 teaspoons of black pepper. This is freshly cracked black pepper. I'm going to put the same amount of salt in, and the reason why I'm not putting more in is because this cheese has a huge, massive hit of salt.
Yep.
That will...
We're adding cheese as an ingredient, so we're going to hold back a little bit on the salt because there's going to be salt that's going to come out from the cheese.
And that's a really salty cheese. That'll put hair in the cheese. So... Fantastic. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to put in our rice. Yep. And this is just some long grain rice. We've got 1.5 cups of long grain rice here.
Good.
Okay, so we're going to add that to our fabulous thing there. And our only the last ingredient that we're putting in is our cheese.
Cheese, please.
There's 500 grams of cheese, but we're going to be using probably roughly 350 grams of cheese in this. And we are going to, now I'm going to do what I always do, and I know that this is not something that you do. Can I do what I do?
Just do.
Because that bit there I always take off. And so, just with my eye, I'm thinking that we'll be cutting about that much. And we can always go back to it.
Yep.
There's no hard and fast rules. So what we're trying to do here is get good blocks of this cheese. I'm going to say sort of like the top knuckle of your finger. But again, it's really, I'm going to say the word forgiving. It's just the most, it's a loving dish. So there's no hard and fast rules. We just want to kind of get a rough little block like that. Fantastic. Now this goes straight into our mixture. We're kind of aiming for 2 or 3 blocks of cheese per vegetable. If the tomatoes are smaller, 2 is fine. And it will expand a little bit, so that's going to be terrific. Our beautiful truss tomatoes are not particularly juicy today, and as a result, it has our mixture is quite dense.
A little bit dry.
A little bit dry. So we're just going to use some of the reserved tomato puree just to loosen up the mixture a tiny little bit.
All right, let's do it.
And immediately this is loosened up.
We've ended up adding about a cup to a cup and a half of the reserved liquid.
So now it's moving quite freely. Can you see that? That
Yep.
has a lot of, you can actually see.
It's a lot runnier.
A lot runnier. So now we're ready to start filling our tomatoes. We just grab a good spoonful of the mixture. Make sure that you've got a couple of the blocks of cheese. It doesn't matter where they are. And a little bit of the juice. Try not to overstuff them. They will explode if you do. So it just you know, some people try to pile on.
Not literally, they'll just kind of explode.
They won't explode properly. They won't make.
Have no fear that your oven's going to turn into like a rice.
No, that's right. And you can probably see that it's actually leaking from the bottom, but that's okay too.
While you're doing that, can I do something?
Yes, absolutely. You can peel some potatoes for me if you like. Just adds a little bit of extra to our dish. Kind of makes it more of a whole dish. So I'm cutting the potatoes into a thick chip.
Nice.
And they will go straight into the pan.
All right.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
So we have a lot of mixture left over. And that's where our peppers get their chance to shine. So we are going to take a little paring knife. We are going to open up the lid of this pepper. And I take the seeds out.
Beautiful.
Leave that to the side. And I also sort of, could you call that a vein? That we're deveining them? Okay. And we are filling these peppers as well.
Okay.
Fantastic. So we've got a little bit of rice and stuff left. Now, really, I think it's a shame to waste it. Because there's some really good flavour in it. All of the stuff that's inside the tomato is going to be hanging around the bottom. We can put that through a sieve. If you like, or you can do it with your hand. I usually sort of do it with the hand. I'm just going to grab a handful of rice and
squeeze the juices out.
Squeeze the juices. I think I got some in your eye. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm good.
There we go. A little bit of rice gets in, no biggie.
No biggie.
So to finish off our yemista, we need to add some juice into the pan in which they're going to cook. And we've got some reserved passata mixed with water in our pot here. And I'm just going...
the tomato puree with the passata and the water.
That's right. And I'm just going to pour it really mostly over the potatoes.
Okay.
Okay. It's really runny. We're just wetting our tomatoes again. And we need all that good juice
All right, so just a reminder, we had the 3 cups of water, we had the 1 cup of the tomato puree passata, and we mixed it all together, but we used about a cup and a half of it to loosen up our filling earlier. Yep. And then the remainder, we've just added it to the pan.
Fantastic. So on top of this, we're going to put our extra virgin olive oil.
Yep.
Just a really, really good drizzle over all the vegetables. It's going to act like a little bit of a sticky solution for our fantastic breadcrumbs.
Yep.
Now we're just going to grab our breadcrumbs and we're going to spoon a little bit of breadcrumb over each tomato.
So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some foil on top, some vented foil, and we're going to bake these in a preheated oven that's been preheated to 200 degrees centigrade. After about an hour, we're going to check on the fluid level. If it's still quite high, we remove the foil and we continue to bake for about another hour. During that final baking phase, this beautiful breadcrumb gets kind of crusty and almost forms like a little brulee topping.
You can actually give it a little crack with the spoon. You can, I promise.
And it ends up being the most amazing thing to have as the first spoonful when you're eating these, because that's the very top of the dish. All right, so we're just gonna get some foil, get it ready, and then pop it in the oven.
Pop it in the oven.
All right, let's do it.
So it's able to breathe from both sides there, or you can poke some holes in it.
Yep.
That goes straight into the oven for
Let's do it.
They look lovely, don't they?
They look absolutely amazing. Everything is golden and beautiful, and we've got this amazing little crustiness. Baked crustiness.
Shall we hear it?
There it is.
There it is.
Bang, bang, bang. All right, Eleni, would you care to serve us?
I'd love that.
Okay, let's do it.
Would you prefer a capsicum or would you prefer a tomato?
I think I'd like a tomato.
Okay.
And
do you have I know that you're going to want a particular tomato.
Okay. I think I like that one because I can see the cheese there and I can see the rice on the top that might have like crusted up a bit.
There you go. And you can see this beautiful golden juice underneath, which is fantastic for mopping up with your bread.
Beautiful.
And let's get some potatoes in there too.
Bake some bread.
So a good vegetarian meal.
Beautiful vegetarian meal.
If you want to go fully vegan, if you're fasting or doing any of that kind of stuff, just take out the cheese.
Thank you.
There you go.
But why would you?
Why would you?
Because that's where the goodness lies. Kali Orexi. Ya está here, so cheers. Okay. Here we go.
Let's have a look.
All right.
Oh, it's perfectly cooked inside.
Can I just show you this gorgeous little piece of cheese, that little cheese bomb?
Right there.
And you go inside, a little bit gooey, a little bit
ricey.
Really, there's another
really
one.
chewy up the top.
There's another little flavour bomb just
Here's
there.
one here.
And there you have it, that beautiful sweet tomato with the herbed rice and that little gooey, salty bomb of cheese that just brings these to an absolutely super duper level.
And super beautiful soft potatoes that are crusty on the outside.
And those two, these are amazing because these get to mop up all of the juices from the vegetables and cook through and really make this meal really substantial and complete. Yum.
Kali Orexi.
Eleni has many talents that I haven't told you about. She's a photographer, she's a seamstress, she's an artist, she's a woman of wit and wonder, and she's also an amazing cook. Thank you so much for coming, Eleni, and sharing this wonderful recipe.
Thank you. It's very, very generous and very kind.
You are deserving of all of that and more. and more. Okay, hope we've done our ancestors proud sharing this recipe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we have.
I think that we have.
All right, we wish you best success in making this dish. If you like what you see, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the blog kali-orexi.com.au. Leave us a message, leave us a note, let us know how you went with this recipe. And in the meantime, Kali Orexi, que yasas.
Thank you.